We're back, baby. The 2024 F1 season is only a short few weeks away, and I am here to make my season predictions for the 2024 Formula One season. Let's go ahead, let's jump straight onto this thing. But first, what's going on, guys? I'm Dakota. I am a relatively new Formula One fan, and I have really grown into the sim racing community as well as following Formula One in general. I started doing predictions last season, right at the beginning of the year, but missed the beginning. So I'm excited to jump into the 2024 season and see what we can do talking about Formula One and having a lot of fun along the way. But before we do get started, go ahead, hit that subscribe button down below if you enjoy Formula One content or sim racing content. We do a lot of both here on this channel. Leave a comment down below what your predictions are for the season as well. And as always, leave a like if you enjoyed the video. We're going to jump into it, and we're going to be making 6 possible predictions here for the 2024 season. And we are going to be predicting our World Champion, Constructors Champion, Best of the Rest, which I'll explain when we get there. Who gets their first win this year, if any? Who loses their race seat first, if any? And finally, we'll end with one crazy prediction. And then I like to give my community an opportunity to have their predictions heard in the videos as well through the our Discord, link down below. So we'll go over their predictions as well. But let's go ahead and jump right on into it, starting with our prediction for World Champion. So we're jumping right into it. Our prediction for the 2024 F1 World Champion. We're not beating around the bush. We're not hesitating. We're getting right into the meat and potatoes of this one. My prediction for the World Champion this year, shocker to you, is Max Verstappen. I really debated a lot actually going about this prediction, but I mean, if you just look at the way last season went, and I don't think that Red Bull is going to be taking a step back literally at all. And so what do we really have but a choice to pick Max Verstappen for our world champion? I don't really need to say a lot more. There are this is post car reveal, so we do see that Red Bull is getting a little interesting with their car design for this season, kind of adopting a very similar thing to what Mercedes brought at the end of, or at the beginning of last season. So there's really some unknowns there, but the biggest problem with that theory is that Adrian Newey is a wizard, and so we really can't expect him to fall off that much. And if he's choosing to go about this, I think the only thing we can do is trust him and expect to see greatness on track. So Max Verstappen is my official pick for world champion. I don't think I'm going to be alone in that, and this feels like a pretty easy banked point, so we'll take those every single day of the week. But let's go ahead and move on now to our Constructors Champion, and we're going to jump straight into it as well. That's right, Red Bull are my Constructors Champions. I know that Sergio Perez had issues last year, especially at the beginning part of the season, you know, around 5, 6, and kind of onward. But at the same time, when you have Max Verstappen absolutely just winning weekend after weekend after weekend, that's great points that are going to rack up over a season. And I think I saw that Max Verstappen won the Constructors last season by himself. So just throw in the fact that Checo should be able to score very solid points anyway. And I think Red Bull is on for probably one of the more dominant seasons. And that's coming off of a 2023 season where they won all but one race on the calendar and ran away with both championships. So it'll be what it'll be. Red Bull, you are my pick for Constructors Champion. I'm going to be taking these points where I can get them. We're not getting cute. I'm taking my points, and we'll leave the spice for these upcoming predictions. But let's go ahead. Let's move on now to my best of the rest. So moving on to my picks for best of the rest, I'm actually going to be splitting this one into 2 categories. I'm going to go with best of the rest driver and best of the rest team. Now, that said, since my picks for world champion and constructors were to explain how Red Bull could potentially have a more dominant season than they did last time, I am going to be operating this prediction under the idea that second place is best of the rest, because I just have a terrible feeling that that may just have to be the case. So my pick for the driver best of the rest is Charles Leclerc. I think Charles actually setting up for a very, very competitive season. Last season, we saw him get about as unlucky as you possibly can. And I think this year is setting up for a potentially very strong year for Charles, especially with the news that Lewis is coming to the team starting in 2025. I think Charles is going to want to come out with a very, very strong final year before being matched up with a 7-time World Drivers Champion. So I think Charles actually is on for a very strong year. And if Ferrari can not do Ferrari things and actually deliver a car that is somewhat reliable and somewhat on the pace, I think he could be on for a big year. And now we have our best of the rest in terms of the constructors. We have actually a pretty tightly contested race with Ferrari, Mercedes, Aston Martin, and McLaren, and potentially VCarb, RB, whatever they're going to be called this year. A lot of people are talking about that team taking a very large step forward, considering they're going to get a lot of components from the old Red Bull. So I don't think they're necessarily going to compete for, that best of the rest and really fighting towards the front of the constructors, but I think they could take a lot of points away from other teams if they aren't careful. So it's going to be a tightly contested race towards the top, maybe not at the top, but towards the top. And for my pick, I actually have gone with Ferrari. For whatever reason, maybe it's the Ferrari delusion in me, I think that we could be seeing a pretty decent result for Ferrari this year. Now, I'm going to be remembering this clip when in like the first 5 races, they have like 7 DNFs and just don't look on the pace at all. But I guess time will tell. Maybe it's just it's vibes. It's just all vibes. And so Ferrari, you're my pick for best of the rest in the constructors. Don't let me down. All right, let's move on to some of my favorite predictions. Who on the grid, if anyone, is going to get their first Grand Prix win this year? I have gone with an unconventional pick, but not so unconventional that it couldn't happen. I have picked a McLaren, but not that McLaren. I have gone for Oscar Piastri. I think we were all very wowed with his performance in Qatar towards the end of last season, even getting a sprint win, which is a win, but it is not a Grand Prix win. We are still waiting for that one from the young lad. But if he takes the step forward that I think a lot of us are kind of expecting him to, having a full season under his belt, I think we could be seeing something very exciting coming out of the team from Woking. So I think Oscar Piastri could catch a good weekend, get him a bit of confidence, get him a circuit that he likes, and I think we could be on for something special if all the cards break his way. Now, we have to talk about the elephant in the room that is Red Bull, right? The elephant, the bull that's in the room that I think is going to take a bit of unreliability or something. It's going to take something special or anti-special from Red Bull to, I think, see a win like this. But I think if anyone can do it, Oscar, I believe in you. Get your job done. Okay, now we have to do this next prediction because I think it's a hotly debated topic going into this year. Because if you are unaware, at the end of this season, we could potentially see a lot of driver moves that could shake up the entire grid. Going into 2024, we actually, for the first time ever, saw the exact same driver lineup from the previous year going into the next season. I think this could come at the cost of one of the craziest driver lineup shakeups ever. Now, that's not to say it could happen, but it might happen. So we need to talk about who potentially could be losing their race seat first. Obviously, we're not going to be choosing Lewis because he's already left. And that was before the season even started, but also technically after the season ends. So I don't know if he really counts. So for that sake, we're not going to do it. So it is what it is. Now, I think the obvious pick here is the one I'm going to be going with. And I think the answer is Sergio Perez. Now, the qualifier here is that the first driver, and I think that actually unfortunately fits even more for Checo. We saw a lot of heat start to flame up under his race seats over the course of the previous season, but thankfully Max was able to pick it up, and I don't think Red Bull really cared too much at the end of the day that Checo was struggling a lot. But there was a lot of talks early and often over the course of the season, especially when Daniel Ricciardo jumped back into the AlphaTauri and looked okay. That said, if Sergio has another season like he did last season, I think we could see Red Bull, an organization known for making these driver lineup changes drastically, quickly, and ruthlessly. I think we could see Checo potentially lose his seat first. So unfortunately, Checo, you are my pick for losing your race seat first. And here we are, our final prediction for the 2024 season, and let's make it a good one. Their final prediction is our one crazy prediction for this season, and I have gone with something that shouldn't be as crazy as it's going to sound. And my one crazy prediction is that Lewis Hamilton will win his first race since Saudi Arabia 2021. Lewis has gone multiple seasons without a win, and going into his final season with Mercedes, I think he's going to want to go out with a race win under his belt, and I think this year could be the one we see it. It's going to, again, very similar to my Oscar Piastri race win prediction. It's going to take a lot from other teams around him, and the situation needs to set up correctly. But my one crazy prediction is that one time over this massive 24 race season, I think we'll see Lewis Hamilton stand atop step of the podium and get his first win in far, far too long, and is potentially one of his last in the Silver Arrows. So there it is. Those are all of my predictions. Let's go ahead. We'll run quickly through my community's predictions. We'll speed through this one, and then we'll talk about what to expect over the course of the season from me on the channel. All right, let's quickly run through my community's prediction. And like I mentioned at the top, if you're interested in having your predictions read in the video, join the Discord, link down below. Every race weekend, I'll ask for your predictions, and I'll include it in our race week predictions video as well. So let's go ahead, let's jump on into it. Their picks for world champion are Max Verstappen and Charles Leclerc. We have a Ferrari believer in the community. For Constructors Champion, we have McLaren and Red Bull. Some pretty realists in there. McLaren being the pick is it's definitely something to keep an eye on. I think McLaren could be a sneaky pick as the season goes on, but we'll really learn the most when preseason testing starts and the first round in Bahrain. Best of the rest, we have an Oscar Piastri pick for a driver and a Williams pick for a team. I think Williams pick is spicy, and I really wish it would come true. Who gets their first race win? Let's hop in the other papaya car. Lando Norris was their pick. Unanimously say that. Who loses their race seat first? They also went with Sergio Perez. Sorry, Checo. And their one crazy predictions. We have an Alex Albon podium prediction and a tag, a comma, and a Williams fifth in the constructors. That is absolutely crazy, and I am 1,000,000% all for an Albon podium this year. I'm so for it, by the way. And then finally, Alpine will start strong but then fade down the stretch. I don't know how crazy that is, but we'll take it here. We're not too picky on terms of our predictions. But guys, that wraps up our 2024 season predictions. Let me know what yours are down in the comment section below. I'm really interested to see what the consensus of the community is on what's going to happen this year. And then I'll wrap things up in this video by just talking about some of the changes from the 2023 videos to the 2024 videos. Starting off with in 2023, my last prediction in each video would be a Haas prediction for the race weekend. We are officially nixing that one for 2023. It's far too depressing for me, and especially towards the end of last year, it was really sad for every time for all of us to kind of go shrug, I don't know, hopefully not last. So we're going to be nixing the Haas predictions, and we're going to be replacing it with one crazy prediction for the weekend. I think those are a lot of fun, and we could see a lot of crazy things come of it. So we're going to be adding that in place of our Haas predictions. And then each week, I'm going to keep tabs of the number of points that I get over the weekend. I assign point values based on the predictions. And then at the end of the week, I get so many out of the total number of points. And then at the end of the year, I'm going to total it all up, and we'll do a to be determined punishment for a certain threshold. We're going to figure it out as we go, but I want to do something fun that we can do potentially on stream to try and add some spice into the predictions. So we'll figure that one out as we go. But guys, that wraps it up for me here. I think this video is going to be going out while preseason testing is already underway. So hopefully testing is going well. Maybe we'll see some surprises. Maybe everybody's sandbagging, maybe nobody is sandbagging. Hopefully you guys are enjoying and getting hyped for the season. I know I am. I can't wait to see what the season has in store, and be on the lookout the first race week for my official first round predictions video a few days before practice starts. But that is going to wrap it up for me here in this one, guys. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one.